Today we are coming to learn how to sew this straight or pencil slit with the pleat at the side. There's a two pleats. This is the one, this is the second one at the side, and there's a opening at the side or slit at the side. So pleat and opening at the side. So if that's what you want to learn, then let's get right into this. I finished putting the lining in the cloth. If you don't know how to put lining in your slit, you can go to the channel. There's a video on how to put your lining in your cloth before you make your slit. So let's get right into the video. I've put in everything inside, so you turn the cloth to the right side. We are slitting this, the opening is coming to the side and the pleat is coming to the side. So we'll sew in, follow it carefully, you understand what I mean. So I've turned it to the wrong side, so I'm measuring 3 inches to the bottom part, sorry. So 3 inches to the down, so you measure 3, you measure 3 again, you do same, you repeat the same process out to the end of the slit. So 3 inches where I'm pinning, that's where we'll slit, or that's where we'll open at the side. But you have to secure that place with pins before you start making your pleats. So please watch it carefully and follow the process. You will understand what I'm doing. So I'll finish with the 3 inches. So I'll now flip it over or turn it to the right side. So you won't sew that part. You wait until you finish doing your pleats, then before you sew that part. So I've turned it to the right side. We are now coming to do the pleat. So the pleat is going to the left side of the slit, not the right side. So you make sure that where you pin, the 3 inches will come to your left side. So now we'll start making the the pleats at the left side. The pleat is 1.5 inch, the size. If you want it big, you can do it 2 inches. It depends on the size of your client or your measurement. So we are now coming to start the plate. So I'll measure 5.5, then I'll subtract 1.5 from it, so it will remain 4 inches. You will take 1.5, the 1.5 will be the plate that you sew. So 5.5, then you pin 1.5 for the plate, so it will remain 4 inches. So 5.5, you pin your 1.5 like this, then you measure 5.5, you pin your 1.5 plates in it, then it will remain 4 inches. You repeat the same process to the down part. So you repeat the same process to the down part. 5.5, then you pin 1.5, you take 1.5 from it, 5.5, you take 1.5 from it, 5.5. You repeat the same process to the down part. So you follow it carefully, you understand it. It's simple and easy to make. It doesn't take much time. So I'll finish with the first plate. We are now coming to make the second plate. So this is the first one. You see how neat it is. So we'll now measure the second one and pin our 1.5. So this is how it will look when you finish making the two. So we are now coming to make that one. We are not measuring 5.5 and you take 1.5. No, we will measure 3.5, then we'll take 1.5 from it, then it will remain 2 inches. So you measure 3.5 to where the first line when you sew it, or where the pin is. You measure 3.5, then you take 1.5 from it. That's the plate. The plate is 1.5, so 3.5, you take 1.5 from it, then you repeat the same process to the down. So it will remain 2 inches. Yes, so 3.5. Then you take 1.5 from it for the plate. 3.5, you take 1.5 from it for the plate. 3.5, you take 1.5 from it for the plate. You repeat the same process to the bottom part. After that, then you rule a straight line on the pins that is giving you the guideline for the 1.5, so that you sew a straight stitch. Sorry. So both the two pleats that you make, you sew a straight line, then you remove your pins, then you turn the slit to the wrong side. Now then we'll make our shape. It's a simple slit and doesn't take time at all. So I'm making the last one, 3.5. Then you take your 1.5 inch plate from it. Then after that, you rule your straight line. If you don't want the chalk to stain your cloth, you can use iron to iron it. Then you get your line. Then you sew a straight stitch to the bottom part, so you can see the two pleats at the side. So after sewing it, then you turn it to the wrong side. Then we shape our slit. The measurement I'm working with is a hip 45. So because we've done the pleats and we've taken 3 inches before we started the pleats, the cloth will reduce, so we won't get a big allowance. So you will shape the measurement will be at the size, both the size. So you start shaping. There will be no slit at the back. The slit or the opening is coming to the side. So I'm turning it to the wrong side. Then I'll put in the measurement. Then I'll take it to the machine. Then I'll sew and bring it for us to see. If you want to make it a skirt with a zip, you do the same thing. You make your plate first before you input your measurement. Then you make your zip line. Then you get it like a skirt. It won't be like my own that I'll add a rope at the waist. So I'm just securing it with pins before I start inputting my measurement. So the hip I'm working with is 45. So from the top you measure your 45, then the excess allowance you share it equally to the side, both sides. Then you measure from your waist to your hip. If it's 10 or 11, then you repeat the same process. But the bottom part, I want the shape to be tapered. I want the down to be tapered, like it to be then the shape will be tapered. I hope you understand what I want to say. So that part, I will make it 17 inches, the bottom part. So I'm inputting my measurements at the top and my hip. So from the waist to the hip is 11 inches, because I'll fold 1 inch for the rope at the top. So I made it 11 inches. So the hip is 45. So after that, I'll make the bottom part 17 inches. So you measure from the end, then you measure your 17 inches, then you put chalk or you mark the 17, then you measure the excess allowance that is left. If it's 10, then you divide it equally into two. So 5 will go here, 5 will go there. If it's 15, 7.5. If it's 20, 10 will go here, 10 will go here, so that you get exactly the shape how you want it. So I got 14 inches, so I will divide it into two. So I'll get 7 inches at the side. So you measure from the end. You won't measure from where the 3 inches is low. You measure from the end, from the tip of the slit, sorry. So you measure your 17 inches, then you measure the excess. Oh, okay, I got 11.5. So 11.5, we divide it into two, you get 5 3/4. So you share it equally to the side. So 5 3/4 at this side, then 5 3/4 at the other side. Then you shape it. Then you get your tapered bottom part of the slit. Then after that, you put in your rope. So I'm measuring it and see if I have the 17 inches. So I'm now coming to connect my lines with my long ruler or my yardstick. I want to be sure of the measurement before I roll my line. I don't want the hip to short or the measurement to short. So I'm rolling my straight line to give me the guideline to get a straight stitches. If you don't have a long ruler, you can use iron. When you fold it and you iron it, you get uh, the same effect. Yeah, the same effect. So you just fold it and iron it. The line will come to the back side. Then you sew it from there. So I'm rolling my line now. So I'll finish shaping it. I'll take it to the machine. Then I'll sew and bring it for us to see. So I'm going to sew it and bring it for us to see. So 45.5 is exactly the measurement I wanted. So I'll finish sewing it. We are now opening the 3 inches that we pinned from the beginning. You remember we pinned 3 inches to the bottom part. So you measure the way you want to slit your own. I slit mine 20 inches. If you want it 22 inches, then you slit it. Mine is 20 inches. So I'll now open the allowance, iron it nicely, and pin it, and iron it nicely and pin it and hem it. Then you put your rope in it. So this is the opening at the side. So I slit mine 20 inches. That's what I'm showing you with the tape. The slit length is 43. So this is the opening and this is the 2 pleats at the side. So this is the rope that I'll put in the waist. So I'm going to sew it and bring it